We bought this house in Bayshore 6 months ago, and knowing it had a problem with the basement. Then there was standing water in the basement when we bought the house, and there was an existing pump system that was there that was not working. So we had a company come in and do work and put in new pumps and new dry wells, and unfortunately the system they put in didn't work, and it was pumping too much water that was not needed, and we were flooding our property and flooding the street. And after working with them for a few months and the problem not being corrected, I started to go online and search for another company to solve this problem. And it was pretty devastating buying a new house and having a problem that couldn't be fixed. So that's where I found Mark and ACM, and they came over, and right off the bat, Mark is very easy to work with. He listens to the problems, he goes through every little detail with you and takes his time. And through that, we're able to figure out a better way and a better solution to this problem.
So here is 7 inches of stone, drainage material underneath, a network of pipes that are set underneath this stone. We have 3 sump pumps set up, and hopefully they'll pump very, very little. It'll take an extreme storm even to pump anything. Whereas 4 days ago, the street was full of ice, and it was all pooling in front of the neighbors' driveways.
So we were called to this home after the customer was dissatisfied with the system that they had put in by this other company. This system that they have in place is not really sufficient for the problem that they have. Essentially, they have 2 sump pumps that are pumping about on the clock every 30 seconds. It's pumping out into the street, it's flooding out their lawn, running down in front of the neighbor's house. The issue when you're dealing with a water problem in a home where the water table is so high, as it is in a place like this, is essentially you drop a sump pump down into the floor, and that pump will never shut off as it tries to pump the water table forever. So what we're doing here is we're installing a new system on top of the current floor, and the goal is to essentially raise the floor and get away from that water. So as you can see here, we have a hole where the previous sump pump had been installed, and that water that you see in there, that's the current height of the water table on this day in particular. We happen to be working on a day where it's been a particularly dry period, but the homeowner has reported the fact when it's sort of continual rainy season, they've had about 1 inch of standing water and puddles sort of all over the place. So oftentimes in a home like this, if there's no sump pumps and the floor is at its current height, the water table would actually be existing at a height that's even higher than the floor that it's at right now. So essentially this image that you're seeing right here is the reason that we're even working at this house today. Because essentially they had the sump pumps down below this current floor, and those sump pumps were set at a height where essentially they were just pumping an actually completely unlimited amount of water. And you can see the water level here. So that's the height of the water table, and essentially that's the volume of water that this homeowner was pumping before we got here, and we were able to help them out.
So the sumps that we put in have no holes in the bottom. Most waterproofing companies have a basin with hundreds of holes drilled in it, and in a place like this, they're pumping the entire neighborhood. So sumps should be sealed on the bottom, and the only way the water should be able to get in is through the pipes, which are right under the surface here. This way, the water has to come up to within 8 inches of here to turn the pumps on. That's very important. The system that was here previously, they were just pumping millions of gallons of water. It was unusable.
So what we're doing on this job is we're going to be covering the entirety of this current floor with about 6 inches of clean crushed bluestone, and then pouring what's going to be a brand new slab, brand new concrete slab on top of that gravel. And then after placing down the brand new 5-inch slab, we'll be able to turn what was previously a completely unusable, very flooded out damp space into a brand new concrete floor that this homeowner would be able to use for storage and any other kind of purposes they would like.
What I like about working with ACM is that I met Mark, the owner, immediately, and he came over and I dealt with just him compared to other companies where multiple salesmen were coming over. I never knew who owned the company, who managed the company. There was a different face every time. But with ACM, you meet Mark and you meet the owner the first day and you feel very comfortable working with him. And it really changed our life as a family. It was really devastating to have a problem like this, that we no longer have this problem anymore.